Welcome back to another episode of Titan Table Talk. A short episode today. We have three guests. Starting off today, we have Coach Michael Kellar. How are you doing?
Good. Coming off a good weekend, so that's it. Always helps coming into the office on Monday morning after a good weekend.
I bet. A good weekend, and that puts you now at 5 wins in a row. Offense has been exploding, as we talked about. And that even started, before the 5-game win streak. But we'll kind of start there, go back, 5 games to when you first started getting hot versus Carroll. What started clicking with the team? What exactly has happened to cause this?
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything that happened. I mean, even the opening weekend, the tough weekend that we had against North Park, we put up some runs. From a pitching defensive standpoint, didn't maybe play our best games. And I think, just getting that first win against Carroll, I think under our belt, I think kind of, let guys take a breath a little bit and relax, especially when there's some expectations, within the conference and within our team. But I think guys have just started they got the win on Tuesday. Going down to Milliken on Thursday has been a tough place for us to play the last couple of years, and they've been really good as well. And then to come out and score, I think we scored 7 in the first 2 against Milliken. Again, let our guys breathe a little bit. We pitched it fairly well. Kept them in check, and they've got a good, especially the top half of their lineup is a very veteran lineup, proven some good players, and to keep them kind of in check, got us rolling, and then they just kind of carried it over this weekend. Early in game 1 against Elmhurst, fell behind a little bit, but battled, and I think that's honestly with our offense and our team in general. I think it's kind of been our MO a little bit. We've taken some punches and got knocked down at some times, but have done a really, really good job answering back anytime we face some adversity. Whether it's losing, first 2 games of a doubleheader, or having a tough loss where we maybe had the lead and gave it up, or we just didn't play very well. I think that's kind of been our what we've done well, and we continue to do it this weekend. But offense, swinging it well, it makes everybody's life a lot easier when you're scoring the runs that we have in the last week, and honestly over the course of the season for the most part as well.
Yeah, it's also a lot of fun to watch, I'll say personally. I enjoy a good pitcher's duel, but also putting up, what are we at now? We're over 35 runs in the last 3 games. Eddie scored 7 the game before that, so it really has just been fun to watch. Talk a little bit about the depth that the team has, because, you do have a couple guys, obviously, that are putting up ridiculous numbers, but this has really been a top-to-bottom effort.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that we kind of knew coming into it is almost, we've got a handful of guys that probably on a lot of teams would be starting elsewhere. And, I think they've come in and done a good job in certain spots to give some guys a little break when maybe they've struggled a little bit. And then, credit to those guys as well. When they are struggling, they come back and they get their opportunity, and they've jumped right back into the mix. So I think having the depth is good, and you've got options, whether it be late in the game, we need pinch hitters, because they're bringing in a lefty, and we've got a couple lefties coming up and just playing those matchups a little bit. Or the same goes when we get a lead and we want to make some defensive changes. We got some guys that can do that and help us close out games.
So moving forward now, offense has been on a roll. Pitching has been good, but every once in a while it seems like big innings happen.
Yes, you're right.
So moving forward, as the conference season is kind of getting really under roll, you've got a few under your belt now. But what are you kind of looking to dial in? I know there's been some health issues this year, so where are you on a pitching perspective?
Yeah, I still think that the talent is there. I think again, I take a lot of what are inconsistencies on the mound a little bit with more of some of the mental side rather than anything physical, because especially with some guys that have won some awards and had gotten some accolades last year, some guys that were really good for us have had some struggles at times, but I think you hit it right on the head. It's if we can limit some of those big innings, a 1-run or 2-run inning doesn't kill you, but when you give up 4 or 5, that really puts the pressure on our offense. Now, thankfully, our offense has done a really good job responding, but if we can just limit some of those inconsistencies, and I think I go back to a lot of it has to do with the mental side. I think, having some pressures and expectations is different for our guys, but we're kind of, I think, working through that and just being consistent, getting the same guy day in and day out rather than, hey, we get a guy who's really good one day and then just the other day looks like a shell of himself. So if we can be consistent, with our talent on the mound, and we've shown it at times. There's been games, I think it was Elmhurst in game 1 and even against Milliken. I mean, the runs that they scored were as we talk about, some freebies, some 90s. We gave up a walk or a hit by pitch or really allowed them to score a run rather than making them earn it. And I think when we do that, we're really, really good. I think we'll be tough to beat, but just kind of getting rid of some of those big innings and being a little more consistent is going to be big.
So things don't exactly get easy for you. Starting tomorrow, you got North Central coming into town, another favorite in the CCIW this year. How are you guys preparing for them?
Yeah, I mean, it's been kind of a long week and a half. A lot of games, coming off a long weekend, doubleheader on Saturday, played a single game on Sunday. Today we're going to have a little bit lighter day, give the guys some rest, but still, we want to hit and get our work in throwing wise. But I think I told our guys, and it's been really since the Carroll game, is like we can't think big picture. There's a lot of baseball left. One game is not going to make or break right now. That we just got to focus on that pitch, that at bat, that inning, and that's got to be our focus day in and day out. And I think we've done a really good job of doing that over the past week. I think that's maybe some of our issues we ran into earlier. Is we were like, man, we've got to be perfect all the time and thinking about things that are going to happen in late April and early May when we're a month away from that. So when we focus and are present, I think we're really good, and that's going to continue to be kind of our push over this week with a good stretch and moving forward.
Well, a game against North Central at home, and then you have this Augustana on the road. Mm-hmm. So really in the midst of that CCIW play, does game plan or how things kind of look differ? Kind of the schedule kind of gets more consistent.
I think the consistency is big. I mean, with some rain and we've alternated, moving Carroll's Sunday game to Tuesday and then pushing back Milliken's Wednesday game to Thursday. I think we're finally going to get pitchers on some normal rest and in a little more of a set schedule, which is, I was a pitcher. I get there. There's definitely some good that comes out of that. Pitchers are, they say, creatures of habit, and we want to keep them in the same routine, the same habit. So hopefully with no rain and no issues, it looks like in the forecast at least, we can be a little bit more consistent over the next 3 to 4 weeks as we really get into kind of, I guess, the middle part of our conference schedule and moving towards the back end is just get our guys on normal rest and get them locked into their routine and hopefully being consistent and hitting wise, just keep doing what we're doing. I mean, Coach Laurie's done a good job. I love our approach as a team and what we're trying to do. And I think, it's always tough to maintain that over a long conference season. I mean, my belief is as awesome as it is to win a conference tournament, I mean, to do something special and win a regular season title is you were the most consistent, healthy, you played the best over a long period of time. That's the ultimate goal, but we got a lot of baseball to go and we play a lot of good teams here over the next few weeks. So.
And of course, that would get you a couple more home games to end the season as well, which is always fun.
Yes.
Speaking of home games, this episode comes out 4 p.m. on Tuesday, so hopefully you're watching it right then. Get over to Hornberger Field right now. They're about to start, 5 p.m. game. Most people probably going to be watching this after the game starts, so hopefully you guys can read about the win afterwards. But, Coach, thank you for joining me, and we will be back with track and field after this.
Awesome. Thanks, Tyler.
They say inside every challenge is an opportunity. At Illinois Wesleyan, you have the power to seize that opportunity. Discover the tools, the mentors, and the experiences to take on any challenge and shape not just who you are, but who you will become. The best college in Illinois for jobs is right here. Tap or click now to start your free application and break through at Illinois Wesleyan University.
And welcome back to today's last interview. Joining me now are track and field athletes Evan Lowder and Imani Ogunribido. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing good.
Pretty good.
So outdoor track and field season kind of just beginning for you guys. You each got a meet under your belt before one got canceled, unfortunately, as the spring does often. But first we're going to take a step back and talk a little bit about the end of the indoor season. CCIW championships were huge, not just for you guys, but for both teams as a whole, both the men's and women's teams. We saw climbing for pretty much all around the board for you guys. So first off, can I kind of get your opinions on what that was like, to see that kind of success?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, we start practicing probably the start of August. So to take all those steps and then finally get to the indoor CCIW championship, it's fun to see everybody rally around each other, cheering for each other, and ultimately on the men's side ending with the second place finish.
Yeah, it was definitely fun to be a part of a team where we finished the highest we finished in like 5 years. And seeing all the freshmen in their first experiences and them having a lot of fun and just a lot of individual accomplishments on the women's side. So it was fun to be a part of.
Now, you guys both have been kind of a part of this recent growth that the programs have seen in the past few years. What has that been like, from your freshman year to now?
I think it was cool for the men's team because I got here the year before. We were a 7th place team, and I was kind of here when we started to transition. We got second for the first time ever indoors my freshman year. So to go from that to where we are now is pretty incredible to see the steps we've taken.
Yeah, it's actually been really fun to see just the jump squad generally grow. Last year I was like one of 3 triple jumpers. And now we've got a full squad, bunch of different girls, bunch of guys joined us too, and it's been really fun to see everybody progress forward.
Now, I know we kind of talked, I believe, with Coach Lowder before the events, but he talked about that team growth, not just in performances, but also in size. Mm-hmm. The teams have grown quite a bit. What is that like to have more teammates around, jumping with you? I know that doesn't technically affect individual performances, but, just having the camaraderie.
I definitely do feel like it does play a role in performance just because you have that support and you have more people around you. Especially this season with Marino being out on maternity. It was hard sometimes not having her support around, but when you have more teammates with you, it makes up for it. And you feel like you have that support and you feel welcome.
Awesome. Now we'll transition into nationals now. You guys both got to finish as All-Americans. First place finish for you, Evan, and second team, Imani. Nick Walker also claiming second team All-American. What was that like? I know you guys have a lot of fun out there. What was the trip like? What was the event like? How do you guys feel walking out of that?
Man, it was a lot of fun. And just going to Rochester, I've never been to New York before, and just seeing the city. But it was very different than last year. I think being there for a second time, it kind of feels like you belong there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The second time around, you're a little less nervous in the aspect of you don't know what to expect. You know what to expect, but you're more just nervous for your personal achievements in a sense. I think the trip, it was fun. I also had never been to New York prior, so it was fun to be able to go. And may not have been placed exactly where I wanted to, but I still, enjoyed the experience.
Did you guys get to do anything fun in New York? You guys go explore anywhere, or was it a pretty business-focused trip for you guys?
I'd say we ate a lot. We ate a lot of different restaurants. Yeah, we ate a lot.
Now, transitioning to the outdoor season, I know your kind of team goal for the indoor season, you guys started maybe a little slower and really built into the CCIW championships. Outdoor season seems to be a little different. You guys jumped out of the gates real hot. Some great finishes at the Redbird Invite and the Milliken in Outdoor Challenge. Sorry, I did not have the name pulled up. So talk about what the team's goals are for this outdoor season and what that first event was like for you.
I think for the men's team, we're going for second place as a team at the CCIW championships. We've never done that in the history of Illinois Wesleyan, so I think that would be a huge accomplishment to go second place indoors and then also second place outdoors.
Yeah, I think it's a little similar on the women's side. We want to remain in that top 3. We know the talent's there. So I think we'll have a big opportunity outdoor season to really prove ourselves and solidify our stance in the CCIW.
So just for those that really haven't participated in track and field like myself, what is, to you guys, the biggest difference between indoor track and field and outdoor? Obviously, weather is the biggest factor, but it probably is just a different world for you guys.
Yeah, for sprints, the curves are so tight indoors. If you go to Shirk and look at lane 1, imagine trying to run as fast as you can around that curve and then go outdoors and look at those curves. It's a lot easier to run outdoors than it is on those tight curves indoors.
I think as a jumper, my personal opinion, I like indoor more just because I don't have to worry about weather. But it's not like track where the curves are different. It's just a runway and a pit, so it doesn't make a difference. But I think for outdoor, the environment generally is just more like energetic, and it's a lot more hype for outdoor season than indoor. And so with that hype comes more people watching and like paying attention to the sport. So that's really the main difference.
So, like I mentioned earlier, you had the event this past weekend canceled. Next chance you guys get is the normal invite on April 11th and 12th. How are you guys preparing for that?
I think it's always fun to go up to ISU and run against some of those guys. I think as a D3 school, if you get the opportunity to go against higher levels, you kind of always have a chip on your shoulder that you want to prove something.
Yeah, it's definitely a good, almost confidence check in yourself. You know, you don't want to go out there just assuming like, oh, I'm going to beat them all, but at the same time, like, recognize where you do stand against them. And so it is fun to be able to go out there and be like, yeah, I'm D3 and this is what I can do.
And location-wise, it's not a home meet, but basically is. You know, everyone in town can be here. You get that, you kind of stay local-ish quite a bit in this outdoor season. And speaking of the bigger schools, you also do that a couple more times, heading to Indiana State University and then, of course, the Drake Relays to finish. I've heard a lot about, we're going to skip the Gibson Invitational, but I've heard a lot about the Drake Relays. I know it is a huge event, multi-day event. What is that kind of like for you guys? And do you use that in a sense as a way to prepare for the NCAAs that probably are also, fairly similar in size?
Yeah, we haven't been there since my freshman year now. We plan on going this year. But it's a good experience for our guys because you go against teams you'll see at nationals or national level competition, which can be rattling for somebody who hasn't seen it before. So to go there and get that out of the way, it makes it really easy for CCIW championships or further the D3 championships that you're prepared for it.
Yeah, like he said, we didn't go last year, so I haven't experienced it yet. But I do look forward to be able to go up against that higher level competition and just bask in the moment there.
You have a few more chances this outdoor season to catch the Titans in action, but of course coming up 11th and 12th of April at the normal invite, basically a home meet. Go out and support the Titans, and good luck the rest of this year.
Thank you.
Better see y'all there.